All right, guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Liminal Boundaries Channel, where we're live screenwriting The Ballad of Garvin Hackett, a movie script being written completely from scratch. It's an ironic, darkly comic take on 90s action movies. Think Forrest Gump meets Scarface, directed by Sidney Lumet. So the laws of physics actually apply. Instead of going the traditional development route, I'm writing this live in public, directly for you to visualize later, maybe as a photorealistic graphic novel. So if you've got a good idea you think might improve the script, drop it in the chat, and it might just make it in. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episode. And if you want to follow along from the beginning, you can check out the Liminal Boundaries channel at this URL. You see the URL in the description. All right, so let me just welcome everyone in the chat, and I'll start the timer, and let's just get to it. So this title is Write With Me, live screenwriting from scratch, and it is day 30. So day 30, and this is more outline. And see, this is the third day that we've been doing outlining, but we've been making a good amount of progress. All right, so let's go to our to-dos. Where are the to-dos at? There they are. Boom. And so we've got to continue outline story. Oh, the story integrations, that's done. So I have to continue the story with police and Whitey Joel. I think those are the last two stories to go. So let's see. This is our story page, right? And if we look at Whitey, that's done. And then I think we have to do police and then Whitey Joel. Okay, so let's look at police. Let's see what we got there. I'm not sure that I'm going to include this in the final movie, but let's see what we got. Deprecated. Only use it if you have to. I'm already on top of that. Okay, name, game, maximize optics, set up at Garvin's dad's crime scene. They stonewall him. They run Garvin over in the street. Whitey turns Garvin in, they decide to do nothing. This would be the one additional scene. This could be good, man. You know, I'm gonna use it because it's integrated into existing scenes a lot, and we could, integrate them nicely. They talk to Joel about the Booby Boys counterattack. Let's see. They bury the story about the dead Fed. So there's no dead Fed. I'm taking that out. That Garvin accidentally killed an undercover cop. That just raises the stakes in a really weird way. And once you kill, an innocent person, it changes the audience's perspective. So they talk to Joel about a Booby Boys counterattack. Maybe. Definitely when Tammy Lane goes public, the police have to do something now because the Garvin situation is public. And that's when they show up at Joel's house. I think I'll take that out. And let's see. When Roger interviews Garvin, the police show up and one of them goes to stop the process. The other stops him. The cameras are rolling. That's the end. So I think you just hear the police sirens in the background. That's how we change this, right? Okay, let's do it that way. We hear the police sirens in the background. And hopefully that'll take... Oh, probably too fast. We hear the police sirens in the background. This thing going? Oh no. Okay. Oh, that's why. I'm so silly. We hear the police sirens in the background. There we go. That one took. Okay. So the twist is when Tammy Lane goes public, the police have to do something because now the situation is public. Okay. And they talk to Joel about a Booby Boys counterattack. I like this one. Whitey turns Garvin in and they decide to do nothing. I do like that escalation. This N-word scene would only work. It would only work if it was a movie, because it's kind of an audio gag. So I'll probably take it out for the graphic novel. Let's see. Talking to Joelle. Oh, this is interesting. So, if we change the setup so to an escalation. So let's make this one escalation 2. An escalation 1. Then we go and we see the Booby Boys attacked a nightclub in South Beach. Roger Gust is inflaming the populace. So the police announce a task force, a federal gang task force. And that's the setup, right? To stop the violence, to eliminate the drug gangs. Okay. And then this one, Whitey turns Garvin and they don't do anything. And then this escalation 3 goes away. And then the twist is Tammy Lynn makes it public. And then when Roger interviews Garvin, you hear the police sirens in the background. So I'm going to use it. Maybe I can cut it out later, but a lot of it's so tight. There's no extra scenes now that I'm aware of, because we're bringing in that initial world building scene where Roger Gust is on the TV in the background while the bomb is being made. So let's do that. I don't know if you guys know I'm going to do that yet, but let's see. So let's go to our. We've got to do our outline. There it is. Okay, so we'll go to the bottom here. Boom. Let's see. Okay. Police story is not so bad. You know what I'm going to do? And before I start bringing into the outline, I'm going to do something a little crazy. Because it's the last story we have, let's go to Whitey Joel and see what's in there. Maybe I'll just do them both at the same time. Let's see, just to get it done. Let's see. Get Joel to believe he has what it takes to be a top enforcer in the Vanta gang. Get Joel's respect and admiration. Kill the head of the Booby Boys gang and he botches it. Gets himself arrested. Scheme to have Garvin finish the job. Ask for early release. Turn Garvin in. Joel sends Garvin to clean Whitey's car and pick him up. And then Whitey hides Joel in the panic room. Whitey doesn't check that Garvin is dead. The resolution, Joel fires him. Okay. So that's good. I'm just going to throw that all in there. I'll throw that into the big mango and rice. That is the outline. I'll put it down here at the bottom here. So I know where it is. And we'll do it all at once. Okay. Because a lot of it's repetitive. Okay. This we can get rid of. Oh. And let's see. Game. Maximize optics. We can get rid of the game. We know what they're about. Everyone in this world is kind of corrupt. Except, I guess, Garvin, right? But that's the whole point, is if you're going to have somebody killing a lot of people who's the good guy, you have to make the world worse than them. Otherwise, you lose your audience there. Okay. So the backstory. Yep. Okay, we don't need the why stuff. We got the Booby Boys gang shoots up a gay nightclub. There were some cool clubs in the early 90s in South Beach. And some of that stuff was really neat. Like, maybe I'll tell you about it one day. But, well, it was cool stuff. So, backstory reveal in later scene. We don't need that. Oops. One of Joe's clubs where he distributes party drugs. We don't need that. Okay, set up. The boys attacked a gay nightclub in South Beach. Augustus inflaming the populace. So the police announced a task force. Okay, so this is the setup. And I'm going to just grab this. This is story. What is it? Story says police. Story G. So let's go. 2, 3. SG. Setup. Federal Task Force. Stop the violence. Okay. So we got that. That goes right to the top. All right. So, and then, yeah. Okay, show this on the Roger Ghost footage. Not footage, broadcast. Okay. That's that. Let's see, escalation 1 is story G. Escalation 1. Police at crime scene. This actually gives Roger Gust so we understand his existing relationship with the police, which is nice. It gives us a little bit of backstory to the world we're getting into. So, okay, jail gets blown up. Okay. The wallet. Okay. So this is Whitey's car bomb. So this goes right in here. Okay. Cool. And let's see. Story G. This is the second escalation. And then run Garvin over. Okay. And we can close up the world, I think, at this point. Well, this is sort of the end of the world, isn't it? Yeah. The end of the world is when he gets hit. So let's go there. The gun walk. That's right. It's the gun walk and police run Garvin over. Okay. Great, that's working. Let's see. Story G, episode 3. Let's do that. Episode 3. Whitey squeals. Okay. And this casual racism scene can go away. And I just think the counselor does nothing. It's less. It's less that he's in prison, you know? So, let's see. So that's definitely out of the world, and we're in the setup. Or, sorry, no, we're out of the debate. We're in Act 2. Joel explains the mission. Murder montage. Tammy Lynn runs off with Garvin. So he keeps Whitey in jail. Yeah, this is the same scene. And then yeah. So I'm going to move this down, but let me just find a place for the one I have in my clipboard. This promotes Garvin to Hitman. Oh, I don't have that. Roger tips off. Okay. I'll get to that later, but let's see. Whitey squeals to cops. Whitey squeals and is ignored. Okay, so there was this. Joel finds the booby boss. I think that his gang keeps Whitey in jail. And then it catches Joel in a lie. And then yeah, I'm gonna put it here. Okay, the yacht scene. So we've got that. And then the twist. Story G. Twist. Police. Watch. Tammy. Name Garvin. Okay. So I got that. And that's going to be towards the end of the second act here. Between the midpoint and Act 3. So let's see. Let's see. Garvin hits rock bottom. Resolution. Story C resolution. Interview with Tammy Lynn. That's it. So right after that, we got. Whoa! Why is that there? That's the one. Police watch Tammy named Garvin. So there we go. What's this resolution? Story C. Tammy spills the beans. Okay. Okay. And the resolution for story G. Police sirens in the background. Oh, there we go. Let's roll this up. This is Act 3. And this. Okay. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So you hear the police coming, and this is all Act 3. What a nice tight script this is becoming. And then just do a little adornment, and this will be quite nice. And this feels like, I think, Killing Joelle. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm not gonna overthink it. I just realized that his fourth decision is actually right here when he pulls the trigger, but that's actually the resolution, so I'll just do that. Okay. Okay. So we got that. Let's see what's at the bottom here. So this is Whitey Jackson's dynamic with Joelle. So definitely tries to kill the head of the Blue Boys gang and botches it. That's so repetitive though, I'm just gonna exit out. Get self-arrested, there's no new data there. We already know that's happening. Schemes to have Garvin finish the job, that's already done. It's just repetitive at this point. Like, ask for early release with Joelle contacts. Yes, this is good. So what story is this? Story H. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, capital S, H. Escalation 4. Whitey asks to get out. Okay. And maybe he watches Panic Room. I'm in prison. Plus he's taking your job. Okay. So I like that. Let's do that. Oh, see, that's not going to be good. Let's go that way. And where does this happen? Keep Whitey in jail. That's got to be right here. I think this scene is likely to get cut. But it was basically going to integrate into this scene. Yeah, what's that lie? I forget what the lie is. Oh yeah, I think it's in here. Keep Whitey in jail. No. It's this one. This is it. So I'll just put that in there. Not quite writing right now, but just ordering it a little bit. We're going to really consolidate this one after today. Today's going to be a short one because the next one's going to be a consolidation. It's going to be the big one. The big writing. Let's go. Where are we? Sorry, G, right? No. H? H-O-L, yeah. Turns Garvin in. So, yep. That's already repetitive. This is repetitive. Okay, this is the one. Story H. Escalation 7. Hi, Joel. In the panic room. All right. Okay. Okay. Why? Okay. The twist, White doesn't check if Garvin is dead. I'm pretty sure we got that one covered. Yep, right there. So that's not necessary. And then Joel fires him, which is pretty funny. What is? That's weird. Let's see if this works. Nope. Oh, I got a problem. It's bizarre behavior. Okay, we're gonna yank that. Here. Paste that. And this is story. Story H. If I go correctly. Resolution. Whitey gets fired. All right. All right. And that's it. So that's our outline, guys. We've done a whole outline for the movie. So if we just fold it, we'll see. We have our worlds sequence, our debate sequence. Act 2 starts. We have our midpoint. We have Act 3. So this is the first act has like 2 sub acts, the world and the debate. And we have Act 3, and then we have some ideas for locations. So this is actually going to be a short one because I think this is a good stopping point. It's important to acknowledge that, like, in probably 30 to 45 hours of work, given the average length, this is the 30th episode, we've gotten a pretty detailed outline. In the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to start digging into this outline, right? And we're going to copy it and start consolidating. And that way, at the end, we can see how many scenes we have to write, and we can see how many scenes are not in the outline that we have to write. I think we don't have that many that aren't in the outline. That's sort of a great, the fewer of those, the better, because those are just basically plot. So if you have all the scenes are either moving the characters forward or moving the story forward, then we're in good shape. So what I am going to do is, before we clean up here, check my to-dos. I still have to learn how to make a pipe bomb. Got to research that. And then this is just for me, just for getting faster at folding and unfolding things. But in terms of storytelling, I think we're done for today. So let's do a little cleanup. So I'm going to put here the next thing to do. Next thing to do is consolidate the outline, or synthesize the outline. This is where we, deduplicate and get a sense of the shape of each sequence. Basically, each act is like two sequences. Actually, let's take a look. Let's see what we got. Let's go into our outline, and I'm going to do something a little fun here. I'm going to change the name of it to Outline Raw. And then I'm going to make a copy of the current file, and I will save this as the raw. Why won't it let me do that? It should let me do that. Okay, didn't let me. I'm gonna try again. Obsidian. There we go. Okay, so that's raw, and we're gonna leave this alone. This and that, we're gonna touch that again. And then this one, we're gonna call this 001. So that way we can just iterate on it. And if we're just looking at, I want to see what's in that second act. Let's see, Whitey makes amends. Whitey sets Garvin up with Vanta, okay. Joel recruits Garvin. All this is good. Joel recruits Garvin. Joel explains the mission. And then the murder montage starts right away. And then I think maybe Tammy Lynn is really the soul of the second half of this. Right? Yep. So they keep Whitey in jail. Garvin catches Joel in a lie. Joel finds the booby boss. Promotes Garvin to hitman. Whitey squeals and is ignored. So I don't know if it's like he keeps Whitey in jail. Yeah, I think this is the first time that we have like static, like we have beef. So we got the murder montage. He meets Tammy. I mean, she rejects him. So yeah, I really do think it's like when Tammy Lynn comes in is when the chaos starts. From Tammy, from Whitey. But then Tammy Lynn's chaos turns into something that Garvin likes. And then Whitey, his squeals are ignored, so everything's good. The pushback, so the initial pushback. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the pushback right here. This is where the second sequence starts. So this is the pushback. And and Garvin denies the interview. Okay, yeah, so there's basically two sequences here. So this is fun and games. So I'm gonna do this. So this is 2. So I'm gonna go fun and games. 1, 2, 3. Fun and games. And then I'll go here. And I'll go on. Act 1. Okay, and I'll go debate another one. I gotta go back and get all those scenes now. So I'll make these heading 4. Heading 4. So now we can fold these up. Heading 4. Heading 4. Four. Four. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Make it 4. Okay. So that's the end of fun and games right here. And I'm going to call this complications. Okay. So fun and games, complications. So now we've got our sequences. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to synthesize these, you know, combine them all, remove the redundancies. And then we're going to look at this like each sequence is a sub-story. And that's how we're going to get to clean them up a little bit. Keep the momentum going. Look for... This is just a lot of cleanup right now. Okay. And then down. And then we're at the midpoint. So I got fun and games, complications, and I gotta do act 1. So let me clean that. And we'll figure out what happens in the midpoint here. Basically, I'm breaking the outline into sequences. So for those of you who are watching, you're like, what's he doing? I'm breaking the outline into sequences. So let's see, the opening image. So here. And setup of the feds. So the first sequence is the world. That's what I call it. And then the second sequence is the first sequence is the world, second sequence is the debate. So in the world we introduce all the major characters. Well, all the major characters in the world. And what's interesting about this one is that they disappear. They are no longer, most of them. So Garvin is in his home, you know, and his mom disappears. His dad disappears. He loses everyone. He's an orphan. And that's very important to understand. Yeah. Oh, wait, I had an idea. Okay. Okay. Okay, maybe I have a line here, which is he's retarded. And then, you know, he's a late bloomer. He's 22. So we'll get Beatrice arguing, telling the hard truth, which makes us dislike her. But she's right. She's a survivor. Okay. Okay, so we're here. We'll add this. We're just cleaning these up, making these heading 4s. This is just mechanical work to bring out the sequences in this film. It's very important to see the sequences, because all a sequence is a few scenes, and it has its own rhythm to it. So sequences have their own rhythm, and you want to make sure that you get that rhythm right. And so you give that bit there. Okay. All right. So then now we're in the debate. So we should be able to set up the world. Let's set this world on fire. Boom. There it is. Great. And then, oh, I gotta go through the debate. Fine. We'll do it. So this is a really interesting question, is like, how do you get I have an idea that's pretty funny. You just see like the prison and the guards and everything, and Garvin just won't shut up about his dad and revenge. And then they teach him a lesson. He gets really traumatized because he's never been hurt before. And I think we can do that in a very, very concise way. Okay, so I think we've got the debate. Cool. And we'll close that out with Act 1, Act 2. We got fun and games and complications. Then we have the midpoint. And where's the infighting? Oh, this is all infighting here. Whitey gets out. What's funny is the real pushback, the real, how do I say this? Tammy escalates. So the real issue here is she's asking for, we're at the midpoint. Now there's going to be a couple of sequences here. Let's see if we see a structure that's talking to us here. If there's something we can pull out. So this is Tammy Lynn, which is interesting. And then Whitey gets out. Let's see. I wonder if Whitey gets out makes more sense if, let's see. Yeah. We'll see. I'll defer to later to figure this out. We don't need to solve that problem now. Okay. So ask Garvin to get Whitey's car. Yeah. So I do see it that this needs to go up. So, okay. So, yep. So Whitey gets out. Tammy and Garvin have their blowout. Which is great. And then the twist. Okay. Just put here. Put Tammy calls. Tammy bolts. Okay. To Roger. Okay. And then this will probably not be written as a scene, but it's better if he just discovers it later. Okay. He runs to the comfort of the panic room. And gives Roger Gus the interview. Okay, so Tammy gives the interview. Yeah, I think this is the end here of infighting. So, what do we call this? Actually, gonna call it sequence. This is the counterattack, I think it's what it's called. Yep. Okay, and I think Whitey getting out is gonna be potentially cut. Because it's better if Joel announces it to him. Ask Garvin to get Whitey's car. Yep. Yes. So this becomes Dark Night of the Soul. This is that sequence. So just every piece of comfort Garvin has is gone. Yep. So we'll call that the Dark Night of the Soul. So we got the counterattack. Dark Night of the Soul. Well, it should be a yes. And then okay. This is a 3. Why is that one not folding? Huh. Let's see. Okay, that folded. Okay, that folded. Okay, Act 3. Standoff in Joel's house. So, let's see. The end is really fast because it's basically an action sequence. So, I'm going to call this the massacre. And I'm going to call this the face-off. Face-off. Cool. And then these are mostly action sequences, so. Yep. Boom. And this is where we could do those set pieces with the projectors and all that cool stuff. In the dark room. We'll set all that up. So you got the massacre and the face-off. And this is the end there. That's the epilogue. Okay. And that's it. So what are the set piece locations we got here? Yeah, we got to do the darkroom gunfight and the projector getting shot out. And we got to figure out how Garvin sneaks in. You know, Garvin's sneak in. Those are all interesting set pieces that we can play with. But there you go, guys. So you have Act 1, the world and the debate. Act 2, the fun and games and the complications. And come on. And then you have the midpoint with the counterattack and the Dark Night of the Soul. Then you have the third act with the massacre and the face-off. And then some set pieces. So that's it for today. Hopefully you got something out of this. There's a lot got done if you think about it, right? We've actually created all the set pieces for each of our acts. We've divided each act into 2 set pieces, and that lets us now apply the same tools that we apply to a scene or to the whole story to the set pieces and to the individual scenes inside the set pieces. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. I think this is it. I'll see you on the next one. All right, that's it for today's stream. So if you want to apply the tools I use here to your own work, I put together something special for you. Right next to me on the screen, you'll see a QR code for my screenwriting masterclass. As someone who fixes stories for a living, I can't afford writer's block, and neither should you. So I took the exact tools working writers use to make bulletproof narratives and packed them into this premium video course. It doesn't matter if you're writing screenplays, novels, comics, TV, or games. This works for any narrative story. You'll get full scene-by-scene breakdowns of famous films, hands-on guidance, and the exact system to ensure you never stare at a blank page again. It's $47, and a portion of every sale goes directly to support emerging artists through the Arts Accelerator nonprofit. If you're serious about mastering the craft, pull out your phone, scan the QR code right here, or hit the link in the description below. Get it now, and I'll see you on the next stream.